Okay, folks, I gotta show you this. So, I did some moonshots with the Z8 with this lens, the new 2.8. Well, it's not new, but it's my new. It's the Nikon 400 millimeter 2.8. And it's the F mount, but it's the D version, okay? So, when you go to the lowest aperture, 6.3, okay? That camera does it. This one, I went to 2.8, all right? And I'm at 1/4000, and I'm at ISO 100. I put it with the sun, okay, and for daylight, whatever, because I'm looking at a full moon. So I got this lens at 2.8. I got it at the lowest ISO it can get, and it's at the highest shutter speed I can get at 1/4000. And look how sharp this picture is. So I'm going to take a picture. And, oh, by the way, this is the Z52. So I'm going to press play. And then I'm going to increase it. So here's a full moon. So instead of at 320 ISO and 800 shutter speed, you can do many things, but I decided to do it on this lens. But look how sharp it is. And I don't know if you can see it. See? Just take my word for it, okay? It is sharp as a tack. In fact, I might just turn off the light. Okay. So you see, that little LCD, it's the full moon. And you might see it better. I'm trying to get it focused. Well, it's this bad boy right here. Okay? So, I thought I'd show that to you. So, why am I doing this? Well, a crop sensor camera with a 400 millimeter at a 1.5 crop at 600 millimeters. I'm comparing a prime at f2.8 with a zoom at 6.3. Well, let me turn on the light again. With the zoom, that's a 6.3. Okay? And we'll see if the full frame 6.3 at 600 millimeters is sharper than the APS-C at 2.8. So 1/4000 of shutter speed, that's the highest it can go. The ISO is all the way down to 100. And look how sharp, this picture is just sharp. It's unreal. And the moon has been up all night, and it hasn't even reached this part of the horizon yet. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning. So I thought I'd give an insight. I'll get some more pictures. I got pictures from this camera. It's the 28-200. So I've been using this a lot. I've been using the Sony 24-240, the Canon 24-240. Am I missing anything? Oh, for the Nikon, well, I'm not using it because I'm using these two lenses. But anyway, some more moon shots. I thought this would be interesting to see comparison between how sharp this one is compared to a full frame at 6.3 instead of 2.8. So thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is I have the Z8 and the Z52. You saw the introduction with the Panasonic S1R2. And so we're going to start off with the, I believe this is the Z8 with the 180 to 600 at 600 millimeters. Okay. And I just want to make sure. You know what? I got to go over here. Yeah, it is the Z8. So somewhere on the main one, yeah, I don't see it. But anyway, this is Z8. It's in crop mode at 900 millimeters. Okay. I got it at f6.3. It's ISO's at 320 and then 1/800th of the shutter speed. So that's what I've been doing. But if you notice, it's kind of bright. Okay. But what I like doing is, I expand it a little bit since it's a full moon. Looks like a kind of like a shaped egg. But you see how bright uh, everything is. So I had to put it on the sun, for a white balance. And then as it got closer to sunrise, then I went to automatic white balance, but then it was the natural light. And that's because the color was starting to change, and I'll show you that later. But then I went to 1/1000 shutter speed, and this was clear too. So this is at 900 millimeters. But you see, you just up the shutter speed, and it got a little bit darker. So I find that too bright is not clear. A little bit darker is sharper. So this is at 1250. So you see, a little bit sharper. And then this is at 1600. And I left it there for a while. But, and I did some things with the coloring. I had it like in vivid. I had it in monochrome, deep monochrome, you know, just to, look at the sharpness. And so this is manual exposure again. This time it's 1/2000. But look how sharp that is. And that moon is bright tonight, okay? And this is in crop mode on the Z8. And then, of course, I went to 1/25 or 2500, excuse me. And I thought this was sharp, all right? I'm almost there. Then I went to, yeah, I did it at 2500 again. And then if I went to the next one, I think, yeah, I took 2 shots in a row, 3 shots. So I don't know why. Oh, um, I didn't think I was getting in focus. But you see, okay, so I went to 1/800. I went to ISO all the way down to 64, all right, and it's at 6.3 because it's the 180 to 600, okay? and it's at 900 millimeters. Still the Z8, okay? And the way you can tell is by looking up here, the file. So when you see a DSC, that's a Z52, all right? So, you notice the kind of like yellowish tint to it. And this was manual exposure again, but it never says what type of picture profile that he uses, okay? Well, I'll just leave it at that. And of course, this is the same thing. So what I'll do is I'll just go on, just show the pictures as it is, as it's going on in the morning, okay? And I'll tell you when, okay, that was my last 600 on a Z8, but it was in full frame mode, okay, not in crop. So it's bigger in crop, smaller in full frame. So this is at 600 millimeters, okay? And if you want to see how sharp it is, all right, 600 millimeters, 900 millimeters. Can you tell the difference? Yeah, I can go one more on here too. So that's 900 millimeters, okay? This is 600 millimeters. Do you see a difference? Yeah, it's about the same, right? So anyhow, I went to the 400 millimeter f2.8. Now I can compare that with this one. So see, it's a little yellow. This is before I changed the white balance. You see a difference? Is this sharper at 2.8? So I see more dots, but then, this is more darker too. I just wanted to show you that. And this is at 400 millimeters. I want to make sure that it's not cropped. Yes, it is cropped. So it says 520 when it should be 600. So for some reason, preview shows 520, okay, for the Z8. So I didn't see any difference between cropping and having it in full frame. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you get a quicker look at it. Oh, by the way, these are 1x1s right here. And this is at 600 millimeters. Okay, got it. All right, so 1x1s was 520. All right, understood. And then, of course, it's 600 when you get over here. All right. Yeah, I was trying different. I had the 3.2, I had the 16x9, the crop, and 1x1. But that looks pretty good. And I'm trying to make it darker, okay? So that's too dark. Dark. So I said, okay. So this is where I think I changed it from to monochrome, okay? And I'm trying to think. Yeah, the auto white balance. Because this one was manual white balance. All right, this is the auto white balance. But this turned out a lot better than having it kind of like the sun. And 1, 2, 3, 4. But, you know, it looks a little bit sharper. And that looks like the right composure, okay, that I'm happy with. It's not too bright. It's not too dark. I think it's perfect. So I had the um, 1/2000th of a shutter speed. It was, of course, the 400 millimeter f2.8, but in crop mode with the Z8, it's 600 millimeters, still at 2.8. So I thought that was good. The ISO was at 64 or 64. Okay. And I believe, yeah, 2000. 2000. And I changed a little bit with the shutter speed and went to 1/800. So I like 1/800, okay? But does this picture look sharp? Or do you like the contrast better? So you see a little light, you see a little dark. Should have done that at 1000, but and then right here is at 6 or at yeah, 1000. So this is what I like. So this is at the 1000, okay? ISO 64 and crop mode's at 8. I thought that was the best picture right there. Now, this is at 1000 again. Yeah, I didn't do anything. So what I was doing was I was just, as the morning was going along, I was taking different pictures. And I had to reset the ISO or the shutter speed. Like this is 1/1600th of a second right now. So this might be a little bit shorter, but it might also be a little bit too dark. Okay. So compare that to this. I still like this better. This is 1/1000. So that's what I was doing most of the night. Okay. And actually, it's only been like 45 minutes with all these pictures that I put together. It's very easy to do. So I went to 1/2000 of shutter speed, but you see it's kind of dark. So I played with the ISO. I left it at 64, and that one too. That's 2500th of shutter speed. That's 3200. That's 4000. 5000. 1/6400. All right. I'm just having fun. Now I went back to 1640. ISO is at 64. And yeah, manual exposure. ISO said, yeah. So watch this. So this is a pretty good shot also, but it might be too bright. So I darkened it up. And this is at 400. And it's not cropped, it's still the Z8. Okay. So I put it at full frame. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, that's why. have to do this. I have to make it big. So see, that's kind of dark. That too. Now I thought, now I think this is deep monochrome right here. So I thought I'd try that. And it looked pretty good. For a deep monochrome, I liked it. I thought that was sharp as a tack. And that's a clear picture right there. And here's another one. So this is at 2500. That was at 32. Okay. So this is at 25. What do you think? Is this sharper? A little bit brighter? I thought that was gorgeous. Deep monochrome. Okay. I'll be going to Vivid shortly. And of course, this is at 2000s of the shutter speed. So you play with the shutter speed, you play with the ISO, you try to get the right composure, right? I took a lot of shots with the Z8, and pretty soon I'll be going to the Z52. And this right here is at 1600 now. And it cropped again. So I'll go through these real quick. I'll let you know when I go to the Z50. See, that's a nice shot. And you know what I should do? Is this. I'll just put this over here. Okay? That way you can see the settings, what I'm looking at. So manual exposure, okay? Focal length 400, but if it's in crop mode, it'll say 600. This is the 400 millimeter f2.8D, okay? And this is in landscape. So I was trying to different picture profiles to get a better quality. So I took it out of monochrome, deep monochrome, and put it in landscape. And I was quite surprised how sharp that looked. See, that's not bad at all. And this, of course, is 12/50th on this one. And I think went back to standard. And then this one was standard again also. Crop mode, 2000. And yeah, the ISO is still at 64. So I'm just going to skip on through here. Okay. You can see how sharp they are. Crop mode. I'm making it darker. Trying to see if it's sharper that way. That looked pretty good right there at 12/50th of the shutter speed, ISO 64, and then of course manual exposure. And I went too dark on that. But this is the Z50, all right? So now I got the 400 millimeter on the Z50, which is kind of like the, with the Z52, it should be 600 millimeters, but it says 400, okay? So I'm saying, okay, what am I doing wrong? Then I got it, and then I realized, wait a minute, the white balance. So 2, 3. See, it's kind of yellowish. I got it darker. And then I'm going to realize to change the color profile, create a profile. But you see, even a Z50, it looks sharp. Now that's a little bit yellow, but still, that's a great shot. And that's at 1/4000th of a shutter speed. ISO is at 100. And it says 400, but when you crop it, it's 600 millimeters. But anyway, so there you go. Z52, Z52. I'm going to change the white balance shortly. I'm just going to skip through these because basically I couldn't tell the difference. And that's the last one. All right. I cannot tell the difference. Now, I did have raw pictures, but then I can't zoom them. But still, that's when I changed to white balance. But this is at, yeah, so it's 600, all right. And what was it? 4,000th of a shutter speed. But then I raised it to 320, okay, on the ISO. So that's it for that. Okay, I decided to do the capture one, okay. Yeah, I can't drag it, but I'll go to each one. So this is Z52. ISO's at 3/20th, and it's 1/4000th of the shutter speed. And this is the 400 millimeter f2.8D. Okay. So I'm just going to go down these real quick. I try to get it in the center. I'm darkening it. I'm practicing, and then I change the white balance. Okay. So that's as big as I can get, but that looks sharp, doesn't it? And here we get at 400 millimeters. So rest of the night, and you see, that looks good. So the ISO is at 100. It's f6.3, and 1/1000th of a shutter speed. So it's either 800, 1000. You know the drill. You get it at the right thing that you want, and then of course made it a little bit brighter. So I think this was at 1/500th of a shutter speed. Okay. Oh, I forgot. I want a different program. So I'll just go down here. Yeah, that's the last one. So you see, I think that was the brightest one. It was in crop mode. So when you look on the right, if they're smaller, they're full frame. If they're bigger, they're cropped. You really can't tell the difference because I can, yeah. All right. So if I go here to this one, all right. That's what that looks like. And when you're in crop mode, you get a little bit bigger. So anyway, that's my take on it. So I hope this was instructional or good enough for you. By doing different picture profiles, put in monochrome, put in landscape mode, put it in what was it? Natural mode. I had it in standard. You try different things, to change the color. Yeah, I was trying for the kind of like the black and white, get the right white balance. So I had like my magic number where I put it at the ISO at 320. shutter speed at 800 of a second, and then the lowest ISO I could get for the lens. That's your starting point, okay? So on the f2.8, it was at 2.8. On the 180 to 600 at 600 millimeters, it was 6.3. So you couldn't go any lower than that. And I was pretty impressed with the 2.8, okay? So I did it in crop mode, both on the Z8, and then when you put on the Z52, it was already in crop mode. I didn't see any difference in the picture quality. I tried the different shutter speeds. I got the right uh, kind of like composure that I wanted, not too dark and not too bright, just right in the middle. And that's the way I like it. So manual exposure, like I said, you start at that base at 320 ISO, and then 1/800 the shutter speed. Let's see, what else? Oh, and the aperture, all right, the lowest that the lens can take. And then you go from there. So you play with the picture profiles, you play with the, you leave the ISO alone, and then you just play with the shutter speed and then the aperture. And you just have fun and you try to get the best picture. So thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.